Good morning. My name is Michael R. Roser, and I am the co-founder and I am the chief coaching facilitator for Strategic Life Coaching LLC. Um, I am writing this because if you're anything like I was, New Year's resolutions were uh, something that I did every New Year's Eve, and by about this time, usually had fallen off, and that New Year's resolution had become something that I couldn't sustain. And I've learned a lot since then. And the last six New Year's resolutions that I've made, I have been able to keep, and I would like to share with you today how I've been able to do that. Um, First is, and I think this is a very important point, at least it was for me, was most of the time when I set a New Year's resolution goal, I had set the destination as the goal. And the destination was extremely difficult to attain because in order to get to any destination, you have to do a lot of things on a daily basis and course corrections and things that you have to be accountable to in order to make it. And so, for example, 6 years ago, I weighed 300 pounds, had high cholesterol and high blood pressure, and I wanted to weigh 210 pounds, and I didn't want to be on cholesterol medication or have high blood pressure anymore. And so I set out with those as my goals. Those were my resolutions. What I've learned in my travels is that I needed to break those destinations down into very, very small steps, and I needed to make a beginning to take those steps and have somebody holding me accountable to those steps in order for me to reach the destination. So as I sit here today, I've lost 85 pounds and I'm no longer on cholesterol medication and no longer have high blood pressure. And at 57 years old, almost 58 here in a couple months, I've never felt better physically, emotionally, and spiritually as I do now. So the beginning of it for me was to examine exactly what I could and could not do. What was I able to do? And where did I need help? And if I needed help, then I wanted to find the very best people that I could in order to help me. So as I started out on this process, I realized very quickly that the reason I had failed in the past was because I was trying to do all of this via self-propulsion. As it turned out, I had to admit some pretty hard things. First of all, over time, I had become addicted to alcohol. And that was preventing me from having the energy and having the ability to, in fact, go after these destinations and that I wanted to get. So I had to separate myself from that first. And I was powerless over that. I had no idea how to do it. I had tried many, many times to cut back and so forth and couldn't. So I had to admit that I was powerless over this situation. And then because I was powerless, where could I find power? What could I tap into? And what tools did I need in order to help me? Well, there were many. First of all, I was so deconditioned that I needed professional help at a personal trainer in order to get me started and get me on a beginning and break down these weight loss goals and these conditioning goals down into daily things that I needed to do. I had to hire a nutritionist in order to make better choices each day and eat better and eat less and be held accountable to that plan. And then I really had to take a look at myself emotionally and what was going on inside of me that was causing me, number one, to drink and causing me to pretty much give up on life and just accept the fact that I was going to be an overweight guy in poor health. And I needed a power greater than myself for that too. And unfortunately, that power is something that initially for me was difficult, and that involved religion to me. And I had always considered myself a very religious person, but this God up there that's running around, he's a busy guy. What in the world does he want with me, or anything to do with me, really? And so I started to figure out the difference between religion and spirituality. And for me, spirituality is taking the principles and taking the values that are preached in a religious atmosphere and actually applying those to my daily life. That was a power greater than myself. And I always believed that God was inside of me, that God had installed this remote inside of me. And the problem was, at various points in time in my life, that remote was not synced with what I will call the mothership. And so that power was always around me. It was always there for me to take advantage of. All I had to do was sit and sync that up for the 5 seconds it takes in order to get reconnected with God. And as I did that, I found an immense amount of power and an immense amount of wisdom, an immense amount of direction that I just didn't possess before. I had always aspired to them, but I never could quite get there. And it occurred to me in a moment of epiphany, because of God as I understand God, that I was pursuing quantities versus qualities. And qualities was what I was really looking for, such as love and tolerance and compassion, being a servant to other people, being a better person than I was. And in all facets of my life, whenever I would start on a New Year's resolution, start to change something in my life, I ran out of power, and I ran out of accountability, and I ran out of initiative because I didn't have this power. It was all on my own propulsion and all on my own self-wisdom. And there's an old Celtic proverb that a priest had given to me a long, long time ago, and it said, "Beware of a man who is certain." And for years and years, I had all the answers. I knew where I was going. I knew what I was all about. I had an ego very well developed and established. But as it turns out, as I went through this process and I went through these analysis and these assessments, it came to my unfortunate conclusion that I was an egomaniac with a self-esteem problem. And because of that self-esteem problem, and because of this sabotaging of myself every time I tried to get onto a New Year's resolution and keep it, that I had to peel those layers back, and I had to really figure out what was preventing me from getting to where I wanted to go. What was going on inside of me? What narrative was playing in my head through years and years of negative reinforcement, not only by myself, but sometimes the people around me, that was preventing me from getting where I wanted to go. So I feel called and blessed that I am able, as I've gone through this self-reflection, to write all of this down and develop a plan that helped me and sustains me every day. So I would love to pass this along to you. In the next weeks, months, and years, I will be giving away little tidbits, like gratitude lists. What would you like written on your gravestone? That was very powerful for me. And others that I hope will help you start to uncover and start to dig a little deeper into what's really going on inside of you, so that the next time you set a New Year's resolution, you will actually be able to make a beginning and sustain it, be accountable to it, and thusly achieve it. Visit us at abundantlifeslc.com for more of these life-sustaining and life-saving, in my case, little nuggets, little tidbits that'll help you too. Take care, and God bless you.